Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I'm greatly honoured and feel immensely humbled and privileged to be here in this place representing the town of my birth. The circumstances that have caused me to be here were of course most tragic and sudden, and I do wish to make some comment about my immediate predecessor, Sir Stuart Bell, who sadly died on the 13th of October 2012. Sir Stuart became MP for Middlesbrough in 1983 after beating a certain Tony Blair in the selection process. Sir Stuart represented the Middlesbrough constituency for almost 30 years until 2012. Such a lengthy period of service is quite remarkable, and he was duly knighted in 2004 for his services to Parliament. He was also awarded the Légion d'honneur in 2006 for his contribution to British-French relations. 7 successive general election victories is a record which speaks for itself. Middlesbrough is still a comparatively young town, and in the early part of the 19th century was nothing more than 4 farmhouses and a population of some 25 souls. And it was the discovery of ironstone in the Eston Hills and the subsequent production of pig iron that saw Middlesbrough's Klondike growth over a relatively few short years. Indeed, the first MP for Middlesbrough was Henry Bolko, a German national until his naturalisation as a British subject in 1841, and he's undoubtedly one of the founders of modern Middlesbrough. In 1851, at the time of Bolko opened his blast furnaces on Teesside, the population was 8,000. By 1871, the population had grown to 40,000, and in 1853, the town received a charter of incorporation, and Bolko became its first mayor and the town's first MP when it was granted the status of a parliamentary borough in 1868. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I've been labouring under the misapprehension that I was the first locally born MP for Middlesbrough, but I've discovered that Penry Williams beat me to it when he was first elected as a Liberal MP in 1910. However, I think I can lay claim to being the first Labour MP for Middlesbrough to have been born in the town. I couldn't let this occasion pass without mentioning one of my most notable predecessors, namely Ellen Wilkinson, otherwise known as Red Ellen, who first won the Middlesbrough East seat in 1924. She was, of course, a leading light in the women's suffragette movement, and having lost the Middlesbrough East seat in 1931, went on to become the Labour MP for Jarrow, holding the ministerial office as well as taking part in the famous Jarrow March. And it was lovely in the course of the election to meet Bob Carter of Bellamy Court and Palliser Park, who was well into his 90s, who was a runner for Ellen Wilkinson. He was vote catching in that last election. The town motto is Eramus, which means we shall be, which is a direct response to the Bruce family who owned the site on which Middlesbrough is built. Their motto, Fuimus, means we have been. And the town motto Eramus was chosen to signify the town's will to grow and become great from its foundation. And it encapsulates the energy, ambition and aspiration of the people who came from all over the British Isles and beyond to seek employment in the burgeoning industries of the mid and late 19th century. Since those times, people continue to come from far and wide to work in our world-class industries of steel, bridge and shipbuilding, petrochemicals, oil and gas, and now in our digital and renewable energy industries. By definition, glancing back over just a few generations, we in Middlesbrough can trace all our forebears to other parts of these islands and much further afield, right across the globe. In short, we all came from somewhere else. Our magnificent Teesside University, which in very recent times was awarded the title of University of the Year, continues to draw students from all over the world and contributes in no small measure to the development of new industries, especially in the area of digital technologies, all of which adds to our diversity and the rich cultural mix of our town. And it is a joy for me to be at the service of all the people of Middlesbrough, of whatever background or whatever faith, or of none, in full recognition of the common values at large in our community as we work towards our shared values of social justice, understanding, peace and tolerance. We have a real sense of community in Middlesbrough, and we have a lot to be proud of, including our wonderful James Cook University Hospital, our schools, the majority of which have either been rebuilt or refurbished in the last 10 years or so. We have MIMA, the Middlesbrough Institute of Modern Art, and of course the magnificent trophy-winning Middlesbrough Football Club. But undoubtedly we face very challenging economic times. Our rates of unemployment are unenviably high, and it is in that respect, Mr Deputy Speaker, that I conclude my speech with a plea. Whilst the entire House will undoubtedly agree with me that it is never acceptable for an individual to reject the genuine opportunity of work, it seems to be increasingly part of the accepted orthodoxy that those who suffer the indignity of unemployment do so as a result of the lifestyle choice that they make. That is a gross and offensive misrepresentation. In a town where currently more than 10 people are chasing each and every job that comes along, it is a most cruel slight and insult, as some assert with unremitting regularity, to say that somehow all such people are by definition scroungers. I plead with all of those who would say such things. If you are fortunate enough to be in employment or have other means and can heat your home and support your family, tread carefully on the sensitivities of those who cannot make such boasts, as such attacks upon the powerless and impoverished only serve to reaffirm their sense of alienation and desperation, which in turn fractures our society and offends against the finest of British traditions that in times of hardship we protect, support and care for one another. It is my belief that the overwhelming majority of the British people expect us in this House to speak up for working families who are having their budgets squeezed and young people who are struggling to find their first job. In recent weeks, I've talked to thousands of people in Middlesbrough, and people are anxious, scared for the future of their family. But to make matters worse, there is a sense that some politicians are determined in setting community against community and neighbour against neighbour. It is my fervent belief that we must strenuously resist the temptation of such politically expedient arguments, and in the alternative, we should engender a real sense of one nation so that we can rebuild our country and restore fairness where everyone has a stake and not just a privileged few. Yeah.